Hi everyone, it's Tuna speaking. After that intense confrontation, it feels like there's a storm raging inside me. Mai didn't need to say a single threatening word. Just by her eyes alone, I could feel this invisible pressure weighing down on me and on my little family. And Alex, after everything we've been through, will he really stand by his choice? As for Mrs. Min, the kind of mother who would do anything to protect her family's honor, will she accept me or try to tear us apart once again? If you were in my shoes, would you fight to keep the man you love or walk away to protect your pride? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. Because trust me, things are about to get even hotter from here. That morning was so quiet, it felt eerie. No birds, no cars, just a heavy silence filling the whole house. Tuna sat by the old bamboo table staring blankly out into the front yard. But in reality, she wasn't seeing anything at all. There was only one name in her mind, Alex. He's a good man. He deserves a stable life, a proper family. Would he really leave me and my child just because of a temporary change of heart? The moment that thought appeared, her chest tightened. Suddenly, an image flashed through her mind like a nightmare. Alex in a suit, standing next to Mai at a fancy wedding, holding her hand while everyone cheered for them. And her, she was nothing but a shadow, standing quietly behind the church doors, forgotten. A hot tear fell onto the back of her hand. Right then, Henry started crying in his crib as if he could feel his mother's anxiety. His cry shattered the silence. Tuna rushed over and scooped him up into her arms. "It's okay, Henry. Don't cry. Mommy's here." She pressed her face into his soft hair. In those tiny arms, she felt both comfort and fear. Because if one day she really lost Alex, would she still have the strength to stand firm for Henry? Alex had just wrapped up the last tasks at work. He was exhausted, but his mind felt lighter, thinking about calling Tuna before going to sleep. Just as he was about to leave the office, his phone rang. It was Mai. Her voice sounded urgent, though she tried to stay calm. "You're still nearby, right? I'm at the restaurant across from your company. If you're free, come have a few drinks with me. I just want to talk." Alex hesitated for a moment, but figured rejecting her now would only make things worse, so he agreed. At first, everything seemed relaxed. Mai laughed and chatted like an old friend catching up. But after a few drinks, her gaze began to shift. She leaned her elbow on the table, staring straight at him, and suddenly said, "You know, sometimes we mistake things for love when they're really just illusions. Like that Tuna girl." Alex froze. His heartbeat quickened. "Mai, what are you talking about?" She let out a laugh, but it was bitter. "You really think I didn't know? You thought you could hide that from me. She's not good enough for you. You were born for something better, not to waste your life on some woman who already has a kid." Alex stood up, ready to end the conversation. But Mai suddenly staggered toward him and grabbed his hand. Her body was weak from the alcohol, yet her grip was desperate, like she was terrified of being abandoned. I don't want to lose you," she whispered as she fell against his chest, her face inches from him, her breathing uneven. For a moment, time stood still. Their eyes met, only inches apart. A fragile woman, begging for a love that didn't belong to her. But in Alex's mind, there was only Tuna. He clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stay calm. Let go. Not because he was heartless, but because his heart already belonged somewhere else. Just as Alex was trying to pull Mai's hands off him, the restaurant door suddenly swung open. John appeared. He froze at the sight in front of him. Mai pressed against Alex's chest, her arms wrapped tightly around his neck, while Alex held her by the shoulders as if they were in an embrace. The atmosphere instantly turned cold. Alex John spoke, his voice filled with suspicion. Alex jolted back, but that reaction only made things look worse. He moved forward, about to explain, but before he could say a word, Mai slipped into her role perfectly. She clung to Alex's arm, staggering slightly, as if heartbroken. "I told you, I can't forget you. And you know that, don't you?" Alex's fists clenched. It was obvious Mai was deliberately twisting the situation. John stepped closer, his eyes turning icy. "Alex, what the hell is going on? You and Mai, are you two still involved?" "It's not what you think," Alex snapped. But even as he said it, he knew how weak it sounded. He looked exactly like someone trying to make excuses. Mai lifted her head, her eyes shimmering with tears, like she'd been deeply hurt. "I know. You're avoiding me because of her. But feelings aren't something you can turn off just because you want to. You still love me, right?" Those words felt like a blade straight to Alex's pride. He wanted to deny it immediately, to shout that it was all a misunderstanding. But John had already turned away, disappointment in his eyes. And in that moment, Alex realized one painful truth, just 1 second of carelessness. And everything he'd been trying so hard to protect for Tuna could crumble completely. Alex couldn't stand another second. Without saying a word to John or Mai, he tore himself out of Mai's grip and rushed out of the restaurant. The scent of alcohol still lingered on him, but his mind was painfully clear. There was only one thought left: he had to see Tuna. Now. The sound of his engine roared through the night as he sped off like the wind. Every second on the road felt like fire burning in his chest. If someone had seen what happened, if that news reached Tuna before he could explain, what would she think of him? How much would it hurt her? He pulled into the familiar alley leading to her house. Before the car had even fully stopped, he jumped out and ran straight to the door. He lifted his hand to knock, but the door opened first. Tuna was standing there. She didn't look surprised. She didn't ask why he came. She didn't run into his arms like she used to. She just looked at him with a calmness so deep it sent a chill down his spine. Henry was fast asleep in her arms, but Tuna's eyes were anything but peaceful. Alex spoke, his voice hoarse. "Tuna, I can explain." She shook her head gently. "There's no need. Just those 2 words." And his heart felt like it was being crushed. No need. Did that mean she didn't want to hear it? Or that she already believed what people were saying? The night breeze stirred the curtain behind her, brushing softly against the doorway. The silence was so heavy, Alex could hear his own heartbeat pounding out of control. He took a step forward, trying to steady himself. "How much have you heard?" Tuna looked straight into his eyes. There was no accusation there, no anger, just exhaustion. A deep, weary kind. "I only want to know one thing," she said quietly. Can you stand firm through all this? Or does one hug from her shake you that easily? It wasn't a question meant to blame him. It was like a cold blade slicing right through his chest, forcing him to answer with nothing but the truth buried in his soul. Alex didn't answer right away. He just stood there, chest rising and falling, his eyes caught between determination and guilt. But Tuna no longer had the patience to wait for another explanation. She pulled Henry closer into her arms and slowly stepped back behind the door. "You don't have to answer now," she said softly but clearly, "because I want to see your actions, not hear empty promises." The door closed, not harshly, not in anger, but just enough to make Alex's heart feel crushed. He stood there in the night breeze, his hands still hovering in the air, never having made it to the door before it shut. He wanted to knock. He wanted to call her name. He wanted to shout that he would protect her and their child with everything he had, but he couldn't, because he knew. Right now, words meant nothing. She loved him. She believed in him. But she feared him more than anything else in this world. Not because he was cruel, but because he mattered too much. With just one wrong step from him, everything she had fought so hard to protect could shatter like it never existed. Tuna closed her eyes and held Henry tighter, as if borrowing his warmth to keep herself standing. If he's still out there tomorrow, I'll forgive him, she thought. But if he walks away, I'll take that as my answer. She didn't know how long Alex stayed on the doorstep. She didn't know what decision he would make after leaving that door. But one thing she knew for sure from this moment on, their love was no longer just a feeling. It was a battle, and for Henry, she would not lose. And what about you? If you were Tuna, would you open the door again or leave it closed for good?
Hôm nay Alex muốn chia sẻ với các bạn một câu chuyện khiến cho Alex không thể nào quên khi bé Harry, đứa trẻ Alex yêu thương vì chính con ruột bất ngờ đổ bệnh. Tôi và Tuna, Alex và Tuna chỉ biết nắm chặt tay nhau và đẩy cùng với bỏ một tình ngăn những phút giây nhạt thở ngập tràn lo lắng yêu và cảm thấy trái tim bạn rơi kỹ rồi. Sáng ban mai yêu Tuna một sắc vàng dịu dàng đang làm các bình yên như sáng nay. Ánh sáng ấy lại bất từ một chiếc bầu không khí u ám nặng chữ âu. Trong chiếc mông nhỏ bé Harry của bé bạn tuổi tôi yêu thương như chính nó nằm không đỏ một phút đường đá hồng ngày đàn ngay cánh nhật. Đôi mắt to tròn chỉ còn khép hờ yếu ớt với những khóc nước mắt mệt mỏi đang lên từng cái dao xoáy thẳng vào trong câu. Tôi cầu hôn Tuna dưới ánh trăng, cái gật đầu cùng những nhịp nhàng cô đã đầy đủ đã nhìn cuộc đời tôi từ giấc mơ này. Tôi đã nhớ rằng cả đời này sẽ bảo vệ tôi này còn bằng tất cả những gì mình có. Dẫu tôi không phải là chàng Harry, và tôi đã sống để được nói đêm trăng trắng tấm hát du lạc nhịp những lần ngủ về thay tã ra một người bữa cơm ấm áp bên chiếc bàn gỗ. Thì cái khắc nhỏ nhoi ấy đã đan thành sợi dây yêu thương bền chặt trong trái tim tôi. Thế nhưng chỉ trong một buổi sáng tất cả những hạnh phúc ấy như